The views and opinions of this program are those of the host, guests, and callers. There is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, which you should carefully consider prior to trading.
For over 95 years, we've set the bar. Power, we restored it. Protection, we reinvented it. Record yields, we redefined it. If there's one thing we know at FS, it's that just because something hasn't been done, doesn't mean it can't be done. We're never satisfied unless we take your farming operation to the next level. Run your equipment at peak efficiency and bust the bins this season. Visit fssystem.com.
And joining us now here on the program, we're learning more about how a preventative herbicide application during the dormancy period in alfalfa can be very key for that alfalfa crop. Joining us now, BASF Technical Service Representative Jose Cabrera is with us here to tell us more. And Jose, thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. Jesse, thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit. Dormancy period is a very key time for our alfalfa crop, and looking at different herbicide applications and preventative herbicide applications. Just start there and give us some thoughts of some things that growers need to keep in mind here that would be key with timely herbicide applications for that alfalfa crop.
Yes. So one thing that I always try to emphasize is the statement of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So in alfalfa, the important thing that we need to consider is to start good and start with a good plant establishment. So in order to do that, pre-emergent herbicides are a key tool for us to accomplish that.
Well, and I have to think, some of those pre-emergent herbicides here, as we get into an early fall type application, we don't want any of those weeds, those tough weeds to hamper our crop in any way. So I would think having a plan and staying on top of this is going to be key as well, isn't it?
It is key. And especially in a place like Arizona, the desert, where we have high temperatures right now, we're coming out of the summer slump period. Really, here in the desert in Arizona, there's not too much of a dormancy period because alfalfa is almost considered almost a permanent crop or a multi-year crop because it's planted pretty much all year round. And you can accomplish in any place within Arizona, it could be up to north of 10 cuttings a year, where in other places of the country, because of snow or other conditions, you are limited due to weather and just weather conditions here. Just because of the amount of sun, heat, and favorable conditions, you can basically harvest multiple times throughout the year. And in some locations, you can probably harvest alfalfa every month of the year. So you can have in excess of 10 cuttings a year, where in other places of the country, you're limited to the number of cuttings you have due to the weather, 3 to 5 cuttings in some places in the Midwest or in the South. But here in Arizona, you can really accomplish a high number of cuttings, granted that the weather permits.
Well, and some of those areas where they may have a high number of cuttings, that brings to mind a question. If we look at a broad spectrum herbicide application, is this something that, we are looking to apply once? Are we looking to apply multiple times between cuttings potentially? I mean, how does that work, Jose?
Multiple times, depending on, again, weather permitting, but
Sure.
multiple times a year. Right now, leaving the summer slump period, with the summer slump period in the summer in Arizona, it affects yield and quality. As you go more into the fall season, you can target those early preventive pre-emergent applications with products. BASF has a wide portfolio of products, specifically chemical herbicide treatments for alfalfa. Especially products that come to mind are Prowl, H2O, Pursuit, Raptor is another product that is now called Beyond Extra, Post, Sharpen. Whether you want to treat alfalfa as a pre-emergent treatment or a post-emergent treatment, and also controlling different types of weeds, broadleaf weeds, grasses, and pigweed, for example, for us is a really big problem.
I was just gonna say, I know there's a lot of different weeds out there that are issues, and I was gonna say I thought pigweed was one of the biggest ones, and I think that's something that it doesn't necessarily matter what part of the country you're in. There's pigweeds and other issues that are pretty common in alfalfa crops across the country, isn't it?
Right. Pigweeds and grasses in general, like jungle rice and foxtails, and also sedges like nut grasses are also uh, just a problem because weeds are opportunistic by nature, and if you
Mhm.
don't accomplish that initial good establishment, they will find a way to affect your quality and affect your yield.
Well, Jose, you mentioned a few of the products available from BASF. I'm sure if folks have questions about management of their alfalfa crops and looking at timely herbicide applications, et cetera, reaching out to their local BASF representative, going online, I'm sure there's a lot of different ways to get in touch, isn't there?
Yeah, different ways. And here I cover the state of Arizona and the coast of California, and we manage our customers here through a network of pest control advisors,
Okay.
PCAs, and they're very well versed on the ins and out of the products. We have sales representatives within BASF. I'm a technical service representative, so I work with my business reps or my sales reps in the area, which in turn we also work through a network of pest control advisors. And so we have a wide range of support to the field.
And I know folks can also find more information online. Agriculture.basf.us is a good place to start. Jose, before we let you go and run out of time, anything else you want to mention or reiterate to folks here as they're thinking about herbicide applications for their alfalfa crop?
I think it's time starting early and accomplishing that good plant establishment. Right now, alfalfa is being planted and new stands are going in. So prices are always a consideration because prices are low right now. So there is a lot of alfalfa stored. If you go through the desert into Imperial Valley of California, you see a lot of bales being stacked, being stored. So a lot of anticipation in the marketplace right now. But I think the ounce of prevention being worth a pound of cure and going early and going accomplishing that good establishment through some pre-emergent herbicides like the ones that we provide is really important.
Fantastic. Well, we do appreciate the time. Jose Cabrera, Technical Service Representative with BASF. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll look forward to having a conversation again in the future.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.